Slaptail Squad, assemble.
Let's just do the intro. Here's the intro. Welcome
Hi.
to the Slaptail Squad.
Hello.
I'm the Beaveman.
All right,
All
somebody
right.
else go.
Yeah,
Somebody else go.
I don't have to. You know what? As a member of the squad, Ronz,
Yeah,
I don't
I
have
was
to
gonna-
introduce you.
I was going to say, he should go second.
Yeah, once I say I'm the Beaveman.
Okay. And that's the Beaveman.
Yep. We established that. Yep.
Okay.
And I'm the doc.
All right. No, you're not. I'm Ronz. All right.
Right.
All
Okay.
Right.
Sky, yeah.
Okay.
A lot
Yeah,
of energy
well-
put into this, buddy. A lot of energy. Love that. Love that energy.
Hi, my name is Skylar. If you or a loved one has been affected by mesothelioma, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Please call the number listed at the bottom of your screen.
You know, if you don't go
Actually,
good,
you have a really good voice.
yeah, I was
you
just going to say
should.
good voiceover.
You should probably do some commercials or those. Read the books on tape.
I
Yeah.
do joke. I practice voice acting just for goofs and giggles. I don't know.
What's your radio voice? Let's hear the old timey radio voice.
Okay. Well, I have to think about what I'm gonna. Welcome to blah blah blah. Welcome to KBBL live radio broadcast, coming to you from Zencaster in the basement of Kalamazoo, Michigan. Today we will be talking about what effect does it have when you eat your neighbor's frog without his knowledge. Stay
I think it's
tuned.
illegal.
That's
No,
right.
it's fine. No,
Oh, that's fine.
frog legs are public domain.
They are. That's right,
I think
Sky.
I believe
When
the
you
frog
eat your
would-
neighbor's frogs, this is what will happen. Over to John, who's not online yet, so. Okay, there's the dead silence there.
Hold on.
What the
What's
fuck are you
happening?
talking about? What are you
What's-
talking about?
What's going on?
What the fuck are you talking about, Ron?
Say something.
Nothing.
Say anything.
No, nothing. No. You know,
Yeah,
actually, you know what?
Anyway, okay.
Have you, Sky?
If you remember from the last podcast,
Mhm.
if you remember from the last podcast,
Well, hold on. He was going to
I-
ask me
I-
a question. I like
Oh,
talking
go
about
ahead.
myself.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Let me ask a question.
Well, all time is relative, and
Yes.
as the Beaveman pointed out one time when he
Hey,
blew
there
my
you go.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. Is that we're actually speaking to the past.
Yes.
But have you watched the Twisted Tunes series on YouTube?
No, I have not.
It's where they get the voiceover actors,
Do
right?
a lot of people watch stuff on YouTube just out of curiosity.
Yes,
Yeah,
YouTube
yeah.
I use more than Netflix and Hulu, probably combined.
Last night, you know what? On a more somber, serious note, I was watching a couple of YouTube documentaries, and they're very sobering. If you don't think you have it good, look at the World's Toughest Prison documentaries.
Yeah.
And then there's one called, I think, Soft Underbelly or Soft Underwhite Belly about Skid Row out in California. And I'll tell you what, if you're into documentary
What
filming,
the fuck?
yeah, that is one sobering reality fucking series to watch. I kid you not. You know, when you watch
you said skid marks?
Yeah,
Skid
that's what I
Row,
thought he said.
Skid Row,
And then he said something about a soft underbelly.
yeah, when you watch these
Like,
series, right, it makes you
So
appreciate everything.
I know it's
It's that game.
I was actually genuinely listening to you. I just thought it was easy. I just thought it was
Yeah,
an easy.
no
joke.
problem.
For the easy joke.
But yeah,
But-
no, I like watching documentaries.
It's one of the few documentaries I'll stay up late night and watch them all from start to finish if I can.
I watched an interesting one recently because I'm a very weird person. There's a documentary about I think it's the Golden Gate Bridge.
Mhm.
A lot of people
Really?
every year commit suicide off that one.
Wow.
And they film the bridge, so they have like dozens of people on camera committing suicide off of the bridge, and it's like them talking to their families. It's very serious, Ron. If you could please sober up, so we could.
Well, since I don't drink, that's a pretty easy thing to do. However, as you eat the trail mix, that you're eating, by the way, and thank you for dusting off your hands before you touch yourself. Right? You don't want mix everywhere.
Right?
Is that if you haven't watched Twisted Tunes?
Look, I'm not watching porn during the podcast like somebody else we established.
Not only was
in the
that
last
disturbing,
episode.
disturbing is that he was watching porn during our podcast with two other men on his son's computer.
I don't think that there's a way you could take that even worse.
Outnumbered and outgunned here. You guys are fucking coming at me with both cannons, and if I move to one side or the other, you
just can't say the right thing. You're outgunned, and we're coming at you with both cannons.
He's shooting blanks.
He just doesn't say the right thing sometimes.
Oh, I say the right thing. It's just you guys taking it out of the context in which it's given.
Okay, so let's get to the topic as quickly as possible.
Well, anyway, real quick, Twisted Tunes. Right, if you're a voiceover artist, watch the Twisted Tunes. They take these voiceover artists and they put a script in front of them and they do them.
Oh yeah, I've seen a couple of them.
I like John DiMaggio, who does a couple.
He does Bender, Jake from Adventure Time. Yeah. He's a really good one.
I love it when they swear too in their character voices, and it's just hilarious. But back to the topic at hand. War, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
Profiteering, Saudi Arabia, Al Gore, as previously established. To get us transitioned or segued into the topic of comic books, I would like to make a major announcement here on the podcast as a little, I don't know, benefit to listening, I guess. I'll give you some good behind-the-scenes info.
Please do.
I was in a movie a couple months ago.
Now, are you allowed to say that?
I don't care.
What?
I mean, yes, technically I should be able to say. Everybody knows the movie. Did you sign a
disclosure agreement?
Look, we're not going to get caught up in red tape.
No, we're not. You might.
Slaptail Squad. You would like to say that we are not responsible for what our guests say on this podcast.
I mean, legally,
neither legally nor financially.
Legally, at some point, like I'm allowed to tell people I was in a movie. It's a movie everybody knows exists.
Has it come out yet?
No, it doesn't come out till 2021. But like they're done now. It's done filming.
So I can't say anything.
You don't.
Yeah, I can't say anything about like plot. But I can tell people I was in it.
Technically, we don't know that you're going to be in the movie anyway.
I do. I was very much on camera. You just won't recognize me.
Well, but I mean, we don't know what hits the cutting. We don't know what hits the cutting room floor.
Well, technically,
background character.
Yes, I was in a movie. It's directed by James Gunn. It's called The Suicide Squad. I got on set of that movie, and
didn't that already come out?
No, this is the new one.
Keep up, old man, Ron.
James Gunn is doing a reboot / sequel of The Suicide Squad. So this one just got done filming like last month.
Okay.
So I went to an unnamed location, put on a unnamed apparel and unnamed other things. And so I'm going to be in a DC Extended Universe movie. So I'll finally be canon. So are you going to have to go in
for reshoots then?
No. I don't think they're gonna. Right now, he's editing the film, so everything should be fine.
If you just make it somehow get into the Star Wars universe and the Karate Kid universe, then you will have succeeded.
Well, I almost did get into the Karate Kid universe.
You will have succeeded in the dreams that your father's had for members of his family.
I was very close to becoming Karate Kid canon.
I know. That was awesome.
So how did that transpire?
So I was looking for some extras work. This one I can talk about. It's not a big deal. If you've ever seen the Karate Kid movies, there is a spin-off TV show called Cobra Kai.
YouTube series, right?
Yes, a YouTube Red original series. I got picked as an extra to be on Cobra Kai. They cut my hair, dressed me up in I think it was 60s clothing.
Okay.
And I was going to play a army recruit just in civilian clothes or whatever as a flashback. And I was on my way to the bathroom, and I honestly have forgotten his name. I walked past one of the main villains of the entire franchise.
Wow. The guy who plays John Cleese, or
John Cleese is his name. John Cleese.
He plays the.
No, John Cleese is not his name.
I don't know. Let's see. But yeah. Anyway, so I was walking to the trailer to go to the bathroom, and I just walked past the main villain of like the entire Karate Kid saga or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's pretty neat. And then I just went back to the
name
background
on the
holding.
show is John Kreese.
John Kreese.
Yeah.
Like, I guess he could have ironed his pants and been John Flat or
Wait,
something.
doesn't he do the Koala Kai commercials? More Mercy. You haven't seen that?
No. Anyway, his real name's Martin Cove.
Yeah, he's a really good actor.
Yeah, he's really cool.
John Cleese is famous comedian who was in, the Holy Grail.
You mean Monty Python's Flying Circus?
Yeah.
Python's Flying Circus. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's all the exciting news I have. Karate Kid's not really comic book related. I brought up the Suicide Squad because it is, but I didn't film anything for Karate Kid. My day got cut or whatever. So,
What you got to eat?
Kind of. They didn't provide me food like Warner Brothers did. Warner Brothers provided me some incredible food, and I will never stop talking about it.
Well, to explain, what did you do for Warner Brothers?
He just told you. Suicide Squad.
I was a background extra.
Okay.
Warner Brothers owns DC.
Yeah, and they fed me very, very well. They had insane lines of buffets of food. It was incredible. And I got to meet, well, not really meet. I got to physically bump into a couple movie stars, so that was cool.
Oh,
like
cool.
on camera. One of them now has the virus, but it's okay. The virus. He has it, and I bumped into him in a major motion picture. So,
which would have been too long ago for you to contract.
Yes, that was January.
Yeah, that was way too long ago.
I'm trying to remember when in January. I don't remember. It was probably... No, I don't remember. I don't know. I don't care. I was in a movie.
No, it's like somebody I knew that who was a background character in Superman versus Batman.
Batman versus Superman.
So,
yeah, because they filmed it in Detroit. I remember he told me that story also, the guy from Karate.
Yeah, I wasn't going to mention where I know him from. Yeah, he
but
actually...
By the way, go ahead.
You
got to get it off your chest.
It's at least 5 years ago. The movie's 4 years old now.
Background. He actually goes to... At the time, he had a headshot, I think, and everything, and he applied to being background characters in movies, and I thought that was awesome. He was in a couple of major movies.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's surprisingly hard work sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And he was saying it's really fun work, but you're right. It can be lucrative, as he said. I mean, it gets your foot in the door, and they would...
Oh, I definitely disagree. It is not. If you want to be anything in the movie industry, do not delegate yourself to just being a background extra, because most of the time that's all you'll be, and it's tragic.
Well, he said that there was this one guy that was a background extra, so they would fly him out to the sites and everything. So when he came on set, everybody knew him, just because of what he did as background character. So I figured
there's one character.
There's like
one. There's one character in the Star Wars franchise that's been a pilot in three of the movies.
There's a couple actually like really famous background actors. He's in like the original Spider-Man, a bunch of other stuff, and he's just like, he had a Super Bowl commercial where he made out with a supermodel a few years ago because they just made fun of the fact of how he looks, and he made up with a supermodel for a GoDaddy Super Bowl commercial.
Okay,
he's like the rare weird case,
right.
But yeah.
But does anybody know his name?
No, I do not. I even know like what he's in and everything. I still don't know his name.
Right, exactly.
But yeah.
What was the point?
I don't know. So let's do our comic book pitches.
Let's do it.
Is that what we're doing? All right. So I think in the last podcast we sort of established that we enjoy comics.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Nobody asked me who my favorite comic book character was.
No one really
we all
wanted to know until now.
Oh, really? Oh, who's my favorite? Then let's ask the Ronz.
Okay, Ron can go, and then I will give you my guess of what I think your favorite comic book character is.
Who is my favorite comic book character?
Oh, Batman, easily.
All right, now can I say my guess?
Go ahead, Skyler.
Okay, it's Blue Beetle.
No, you're both wrong.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, it's probably something like Spider-Man.
I've been in your studio and see you drink out that Batman cup. You've got Batman paraphernalia all over the place.
That is true.
I do buy him a lot of it, though.
Yeah, everybody buys me a lot of Batman stuff.
So he does buy like a fair amount of stuff, but like probably 60% was gifted to him.
Yeah.
So are you saying you're not a big Batman fan? And we just
I am huge. No, I'm a huge Batman fan. But Batman is actually not my favorite character. I will say this. there's points in time when Batman is my favorite character, but not when Bruce Wayne is Batman. If that makes any sense.
Like as a different mantle.
That's me giving you a hint as to who my favorite character actually is.
It's probably Terry McGinnis.
Terry McGinnis.
He's a good one.
Yeah,
he's a good one, but the cartoon came out before.
Nightwing.
I would say Dick Grayson. Yeah,
Dick Grayson is my favorite.
Yeah,
he's my favorite.
Right, because it's got the name Dick in it. So yeah,
that's why. Yeah, you went right there, didn't you? No.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a little gay to have a main favorite character named Penis Grayson, if I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, but if you know anything about Dick...
I do not.
You should. You should, because you're a man, and every man should know something about Dick.
So
it's just basic anatomy and basic biology.
Okay.
No, he makes up for it for the amount of tail that he pulls as Dick Grayson.
And
like
speaking of which, what is our email, by the way, if you want to contribute to the conversation?
That's a good question, Ronz. Why don't you tell us what our email is?
I do not know the email.
You don't know our email? I can't believe that.
Nation tail.
Go ahead, Ronz. Go ahead. For the listeners, tell them what our email is so they can get a kind of.
Our nation, as Skylar punches it off, who's looking at it right now.
Nation.
I love listening to him.
No, Ron, go ahead. Tell the listeners what the email address is.
It is slaptailsquad@gmail.com. Please email us. And give us your comments or who your favorite superhero is or who you would like to be.
Yeah, or what you thought the thing flying over Roswell, New Mexico was. Was it a weather balloon?
Or was it Bender
something
Rodriguez?
More sinister?
Yeah, I'm going to say nay. You could
I
also
think it was Antonio Banderas.
Why would you think that?
Makes a great Zorro. I think they should do another Zorro movie, and I think Antonio Banderas can be training the new Zorro and pass on the mantle.
Yeah,
let's make it
Beyond, but Zorro.
Let's make it his son.
Let's call it Zorro Beyond.
Actually, Zorro had a big influence on the Batman series.
Well, yeah, his parents got killed.
His parents died after the movie.
Yeah, but if you look at the similarities between Batman and Zorro,
men.
What they were both rich,
men.
Influential people. Right?
Both male.
Both male. There you go. There's a big thing. And both wore masks, right?
That's a stretch. Let's be honest, Zorro has influenced all of them.
Yeah, Zorro is a very old character.
Yeah.
I would agree.
It's factually correct.
Yeah, I would also agree because it's fact.
It is fact. He is an old character.
How old is though?
At
Probably
least
back
3.
In the 1800s, right?
At least 3
years
old.
1800s would be my guess.
Is he based on legend or fact?
Well,
I'd like to think that he's based on fact, but I seriously doubt it.
It's probably one of those things that I'm sure as tales get passed on, it just grows more in scale. Like the original Zorro could have just been a man who, sliced an apple in half one afternoon for the whole village, and then now we know him as an insanely talented swordsman. So
he's Latin America and California's version of Robin Hood.
Yeah.
And do you know Zorro's secret identity?
Easy. Antonio Banderas.
No, it's Zorro. That's his secret identity.
It's Don Diego Vega.
Don Diego de la Vega. Come on, get it right. If you're going to be up with me. Come on, keep up with me. All right. And he was created in 1919 by American pulp writer Johnston McCulley. So
John Stamos?
Yeah, sure. We'll go with that. So, he's part of the pulp
Macaulay Culkin
thing.
But it was a team effort, like Stan Lee and Steve Ditko.
I was talking about, anyway, so we're talking about looking at shows, right? Checking out shows?
Yes.
Yeah.
I started watching this show that was made in, I think it was 2013. It's not that funny. It's kind of cool, though. It's called The Guild.
The Guild.
And The Guild.
Okay. I have not seen it.
It's amusing because the episodes themselves are like maybe 15 to 20 minutes long, so they compiled them all.
Yeah.
To make one show that's like an hour long, but they call it a season.
Oh, okay. That's pretty interesting.
And I was watching it today, and they were at like a Comic-Con convention.
Yeah.
So guess who they had on there, Ron?
I'm going to say Weird
Captain. Al. No. At a Comic-Con convention?
Dude,
he's pretty
What
comical.
does he have to do
Yeah.
with comics and like comic TV show or like sci-fi TV shows? What does he have to do with that?
You get who
Weird
you
Al
get.
has been in a few sci-fi shows.
Yeah, but he hasn't done any sci-fi shows or comics, or he's not part
Have
of
you
that genre.
seen his parody on the Royals?
Okay,
foil
anyway,
song?
it wasn't him. It was Commander Wilma Deering.
Who?
Hello, Buck
Oh,
Rogers.
wait a minute. Wilma Deering. Isn't that Buck Rogers?
Yeah,
Jeez, Aaron
I-
Gray's character.
What?
yeah, Aaron Gray.
Wow.
Wilma Deering?
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was Fred Flintstone's wife.
No,
Oh, that
that's
is Wilma.
Wilma Flintstone.
Wilma.
Yeah, they had them and the guy who was not Starbuck, but the other one from Battlestar Galactica. The other guy, the other brother.
I
He was on there. And guess who else was on there? This is what blew me away. I'm like, okay, it's probably pretty easy to get those
okay.
actors to, pay for one day of
And I'm
filming.
going to go with that. the
Lou
teaser
Ferrigno.
that- Weird Al. I'm going to go
God
with
damn
Weird
it.
Al.
It's not fucking Weird Al, Ron.
Normal Al.
No,
Well, you-
Stan fucking Lee.
Oh, really?
Who?
He was on the show.
Stan
Huh.
Lee?
Stan Lee. Yep.
Wow.
What's his
I
last
was-
name?
I was fucking shocked.
Stanley
Kevin
what?
Sorbo was on there. So all these like actors from different decades. So what was Buck Rogers in the 80s, Ron? Early
Yeah,
80s?
late 70s, early 80s.
Okay, and Battlestar Galactica was around the same time frame.
Yeah.
So to get those actors, you're like, probably not that expensive to get them to be in this show. And then they had like Kevin Sorbo, that was late 90s? Early 90s?
That was the Hercules series.
Yeah, Hercules series. They had him on there. But to get Stan Lee to be on this show, I was like, what?
Stan
must
Lee
have
has
been
done
enough.
some pretty impressive things for people, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It must have been like a favor, or it must have been because there was so many seasons of this weird show that people were like, God, if only Stan Lee would be on the show.
Did you ever see Kevin Smith's Comic Men series?
Yeah.
And what I really loved about it is there was
But he didn't have that much. He didn't have that much to do with that series.
Yeah, I know that, but Stan Lee did did something phenomenal, which was someone came in the comic selling the comic shop to sell some comics, and it turned out this guy had cancer or something. I could be wrong about the episode. When I say
I have none of the facts correct, but
yeah, but the thing is, when they found out about this, they didn't want to buy the comics from this guy. They auctioned them off. And they got this entire theater, and what happened is they had Stan Lee on a big screen. He says, and for you two out there, I've signed a couple of comic books. They're kind of hidden wherever.
Oh, yeah.
All the money is going right towards whatever. And I thought that was really cool of him to do that, right?
Yeah,
and,
he was a good guy.
Yeah, Kevin Smith was a big fan of Stan Lee. And who isn't a big fan of Stan Lee? I mean, he was one of the guys I always wanted to meet. I don't know what it would say, but he was one of the guys I'd always wanted to meet. That and Weird
probably
Al.
something inappropriate.
No, I probably wouldn't
You're
say
like,
anything.
I know a guy
inappropriate.
named Stan.
Mhm.
Like nothing.
No, if anything, my biggest bucket list is to meet Weird Al. Kyle
Is it to
Glass.
breathe? Is it to inhale inappropriately into the mic? Because if that's one of your biggest goals, you've checked that block.
Have I? I'm
Yes.
I'm working on it.
You're doing a great job. You're a
Right.
great job.
So
We're gonna pitch a comic. I'm gonna pitch a comic to you guys.
okay,
Okay.
pitch it.
And what I'm gonna do
It's
is
a great segue, by the way. That's
How
great.
critical do you want us to be?
Yeah.
No, I'm okay with the critical, but I also want you to try to build on it with me.
Okay.
Okay.
That was my plan. And I'm going to preface this by saying also that if we see our comics all of a sudden pop up, I think that we can legally fucking sue.
Well, that's why you say after you say your idea, you say trademark. You air trademark
That
it.
we do. Well, I'm going to air trademark it before also.
Also,
I
you
think
have to
you
do
come
the
up
air
with it.
quotes so you can, if anybody's spying on you, you did.
I already did it.
Okay.
I did those.
Okay.
I already did those. Yeah, I'm full into the character acting. I'm doing the stuff that you're hearing on the podcast. I'm actively doing.
Wow.
Yeah. So if anybody was to ever decide that for some reason Ron wants us to film this shit, it seems like it would be boring. Seems like it'd be boring to me. Like if you made a podcast TV show about podcasters, I'm sure that would be exceptionally
No,
boring.
no, Kevin
It's
Smith
basically me
never
being
has
out
a
there.
show when
What's
he ever
with you and Kevin Smith? Are you just like sucking on Kevin Smith's dick? He doesn't listen to our show.
Kevin, if you're listening, we know you didn't kill Kurt Cobain, and we appreciate that.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Still like the movie Tusk, highly underrated.
Very
Enjoyed it.
underrated. It's
It should be
very
a cult. If nothing else, it should be a fucking cult classic.
Sky, I
A lot
love
of people
your
have
voiceover
forgotten it.
voice. I love your voiceover voice. Still did not kill.
still did not kill Kurt Cobain.
Ron, have you seen Tusk?
No, I have not.
You should try to legally obtain it and watch it.
It's so crazy because
How would I
we saw
not
it in
legally
theaters.
obtain it, Beaveman?
Rent it on iTunes.
Rent it.
What? That wouldn't be illegally. I could.
No,
say-
I said
He said legally.
Oh,
I said
legally.
legally
Support
obtain
your
it.
artists.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, we saw it in theaters. It was September a couple of years ago. But it's crazy because I'm a big fan of the movies that A24 distributes, and that is like one of their incredibly early movies they distributed, and it's on like the box and everything. I have a signed copy, and I never knew that for like a really long time. That's like one of their first movies that actually we watched and really liked.
Oh, that's interesting.
I didn't know who A24 is, but I'll believe you.
It's
He's in partnership with Little Hoodie.
yes.
That's his rapper name, A24.
His side company is A25. But no, it's a distribution company, so they don't make movies, they distribute them. And they have a track record for distributing some really amazing, artful films, and then also Tusk. So they distribute some of my favorite movies.
One of the things that's really kind of cool about podcasting is that you can give your opinion of things and really promote stuff without unintentionally, with no thoughts whatsoever of getting any profit from doing it.
Yeah.
I agree. That
Yeah.
sounds good.
You get your a-hole opinion out there, and you can talk about the things that you really enjoy with in an altruistic manner. However, if somebody wanted to throw me some money, that would be great.
Something to think about.
That's
Like
something to think
Slaptail
about.
vodka.
Exactly.
We don't know if they're good yet.
We don't know if it's good yet, so send it to us. Speaking of which, if you would like to advertise on our podcast, you know what? Send us some literature, send us an email, and we would really consider it. Honestly,
Scientology, if you are out there and you would like to advertise on our show,
don't fucking bother.
Well, we can't turn everybody away.
Don't fucking bother.
Well, we
No.
can turn anybody away that we want. We could be very, very selective if we want to.
Very true.
That's
Very
very
true.
true.
Tom
Very,
Cruise,
very
if
true.
you are listening, get out. It's a scam. It's a scam, Tom Cruise. Scientology is a scam. Anyway,
Yeah, that's great. That's great. You did state that these opinions are not those of Slaptail Squad.
yes,
Okay.
Slaptail. My opinions are my own.
Yeah,
As far
technically,
as I
Skylar is not. The Sky is not a member of the Slaptail Squad.
yeah, as far as I know, Slaptail Nation could love Scientology. Those thoughts are my own. So I will not denounce Scientology for them.
I will neither condone nor condemn the actions of Scientology.
I will neither confirm nor deny that Tom Cruise is an idiot. Thank you. Next question.
He is a rich little man.
That
Did you see
man
what he
can
threatened
act.
to do with what was it?
Here's my pitch.
South Park.
Okay. Oh
Here's
yeah,
my pitch.
that is a very big thing. South Park, what he was threatening to do, all that. That was a huge. I don't know, because Dad, did you watch South Park when it was airing? I mean, it's still airing, but did you ever?
No, I
like,
watched
watch it?
when it was originally the early years. Yes, I
Yeah.
actually stopped watching South Park after I saw the movie. After the movie came out,
What year did the movie come out?
yeah, I don't even remember.
But did you see what they did to the end credits?
No, I
that
didn't.
no one would get in trouble. They changed all the names to a certain name. So women had the feminine side of the name, and men had the male side of the name. But it was always one name, so no one could get in trouble.
Huh.
Yeah,
I know they've
But
had a
what,
lot
would,
of.
but what would Brian Boitano do? That's the question.
Yeah, peasants.
What would Brian Boitano do?
Brianna Girltana.
Right? Or he would pitch the movie that we keep interrupting, or the
Here's the
comic
pitch.
book.
So feel
Okay.
free to add to this.
Yes, build upon it,
be
if you
critical.
will.
Here's my character. Here's the origin story.
Okay.
This character is an officer or an enlisted man. I haven't decided yet in the United States Army, but he's in Special Forces. So he's a Special Forces medic. I think I'm gonna make him an enlisted person. I hate making people officers.
Okay.
So he's an enlisted man. We'll say he's an E7 on a Special Forces team. He's a combat medic.
Okay.
And the nice thing about the comics is you can set it in any time era. We'll make it modern era, so he's basically in a combat situation like Afghanistan, something like that, and he's getting the call out to go out with his team, right? So we've got him packing up his bag, and as we all know, well, we don't all know this, but let me set the stage for this. If you're special forces medics, they've got special training that they undergo in order to basically kind of make them field surgeons to stabilize combat wounds, but they're also fighters. Obviously they're combat folks in general. So he's packing up his bag. He's putting his drugs in there, multiple drugs that are used for healing purposes, not for snorting purposes.
Like marijuana.
Right. So he's going out with his team, and they get hit. They take major mortar fire, and he takes a direct hit. Takes a direct hit with a mortar or some sort of explosive like that. And as he gets the blast back, the drugs that are in his bag infuse into his own system.
Oh, God.
Okay.
So they think that, of course, he's dead, right? But this is the comics. He lives because all these drugs have infused into him.
Dun, dun, dun.
Background story, of course, he's also a master of martial arts.
Okay.
As any medic should be.
None
he
of
didn't
which
get bit by like a martial arts rat or something like Splinter.
No, that would be awesome. But no, he did not.
Okay.
And so now he thinks that everything is back to normal, back to hunky-dory. He recovers. Everybody thinks it's a little bit strange that he lived because a lot of his team are dead. But now he has these superpowers that he doesn't realize that he has them yet.
So is the twist that he becomes a doctor and overly prescribes meds?
Yes, he's part of the OxyContin crisis. No, that's not what happened.
The opioid epidemic.
The opioid addiction. So what we could do now is we've got what happened to him. He's not really aware. He's not really aware.
Is he a villain or a hero?
I'm getting to it, motherfucker.
Because, the villain name would be
drugs
Dr.
are bad.
Opioid. I like that. Dr. Opioid.
No, motherfucker. That's not it. So he's recovered. He goes out with his team again. Now, this time, everything's fine, but they ended up taking some heavy fire, right? And one of his teammates gets shot. So being the special forces medic, who's trained in medicine and a badass, runs over to his teammate and puts his hands on him to help get him up.
Okay.
And he's able to actually puts his hands on him where he's been shot to stop the bleeding, and the bullet comes out and the wound heals over.
Oh, like Star Wars.
Well, new Star Wars. Not also, yeah, he's like reaching his little hand. He reaches his little hand, and this guy like puts his hand down. And he reaches his little hand again, and the guy puts his hand down. Yeah. And so not only that, but as that's happening, some bad guys are coming up over the ridge, shooting at them, and he just lifts his hand, and a blast comes out of his hand and shoots them up with a paralytic, and they all fucking fall over.
Oh.
Okay, so what is a paralytic?
Paralytic is a medication that we use to basically intubate people.
Okay,
so in other words, it suppresses their breathing system so they can't breathe on their own, and then we tube them. So when you think of paralyzed, that's what it means. It's a paralytic. So he shoots this fucking paralytic at them, and they fall the fuck over.
I thought it was two or something, and I'm like, what the hell's a lytic versus a paralytic? So, okay,
then causing immense emotional turmoil for their families and their wives and their children.
Of course.
Well, it's temporary.
It's war.
It's temporary. Yeah.
Well,
so
we're not
now he's
fans
like,
of war.
now he's like, what the fuck? What the fuck is up? So of course he doesn't want anybody to know what he just did.
Yeah.
So maybe he uses a little paralytic on his buddy, and he's also able to use a pain medication, not unlike fentanyl, but except he can control it and not kill people.
So he gets a little bit of pain fentanyl then, and then control them that way.
What'd you say?
So is he getting people addicted to fentanyl?
No, you mother. I just said he can control the amount that's used.
Yeah, but
it's kind of like you know how you've got baby you've got baby cobras.
Yeah.
You've got baby poisonous snakes, and they give way too much.
Yes.
You're more likely to get killed by
a baby
than you are by an adult, because adults can control how much venom they use.
Yeah.
He's able to control how much he gives. Oh my god. Theoretically.
Oh, well.
It's called Venom Dysfunction.
So when did this become a Spider-Man podcast?
What? No,
not that kind of venom.
Not that kind of venom. You could even argue that Bane uses venom. Venom is not exclusive to Marvel.
Yeah,
Okay.
he does. That's true.
That's
So
good
that's
point.
my character. Basically, he's got super healing. He can also heal himself, not unlike Wolverine. He's a
Okay.
master of martial arts. We can give him some muscle enhancement from the blast.
Mhm.
What kind of martial artist is he?
Yeah.
Oh, he's got multiple.
Well, if he's in special
Okay.
forces, he has to have multiple styles.
So he's got at least, we're going to say he's got minimum Krav Maga, Jiu-Jitsu, and some type of kicking art.
Okay.
So he's got groundwork and footwork.
Just straight up badassery, which would be Krav Maga,
Okay.
Jiu-Jitsu, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
I don't know
what would
the
his
kicking-
name be?
I don't know what the kicking art's going to be.
Would it be Dr. Badass?
It's not going to be doctor anything because he's not a doctor.
Field medic badass.
Yeah, there
No,
we
it's
go.
going to be like, I would say that we would name him after the symbol that people wear, and that would be the symbol that he wears on his chest.
Dr.
Okay.
Army
So
Guy?
It's not doctor anything, you dumb fuck.
Wait, I feel like I've heard this. This is Dr. Oz's childhood story. This is how Dr. Oz became Dr. Oz.
Would it be Dr. Oz then?
It's not doctor anything. He's not going to be doctor.
Well, he started
anything.
out as field medic
Dr.
Oz.
Anything.
No, it's going to be like, and I'll name it after the symbol.
What's the symbol?
The Caduceus.
It doesn't roll off the tongue.
You know what? That could be your conspiracy theory, though. The Caduceus conspiracy. Because he can't really believe he has these powers, so it'd be a conspiracy. I like that. Let's go with
You'd always
that.
do a plot twist later on that the government set it up because they knew this would happen to him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Why
A
not?
secret training ground.
So anyway, that's the symbol that I think he should have on his chest, but not the straight out drawn one. Just like
Yeah.
lines, so that like other people could make it. So like the slash and the slash is across. So basically, people know what it is. But yeah, the name I'd have to play with. If that doesn't
Yeah.
roll off the tongue, you could come up with some other name.
And
That's
he
pretty
could,
good. It's
what
good
would
for
be
an
his
original
catchphrase?
character.
He doesn't have to have. Batman
Time
doesn't
to
have
heal.
a catchphrase.
Time to heal.
What's Batman's catchphrase? What's Batman's
Time-
catchphrase?
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. Yeah, exactly.
That's not a catchphrase.
Yeah,
He's
it
just
is.
saying, I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. Yeah.
Okay, well, what's Superman's? Are you going to say up and away?
No, the S means hope. There you go.
That's not his catchphrase.
Superman, what is that? It means hope.
Batman has always had that catchphrase. I'm Batman. Right?
I don't
Look
think
at the
that's a
entire
catchphrase.
series. Right?
It's either I'm Batman or where is she?
Yeah. Right? Would this guy go yelling, I'm not a doctor? Jim?
No. Let's talk about design.
Oh, that could
though.
be his catchphrase. Don't call me doctor.
Yeah. Or could he be
There you go.
of doctor?
No, he can use
Those
the.
are
He can use
pictures on the
something.
scene.
I would say what he should do is because he's a comical guy. Also, he's gonna have the comedy of like Dick Grayson.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's the problem. That's the problem with Batman. That's why Batman's not my favorite. Batman's too serious. Now the Batman in Lego Batman, that's my
Perfect.
idea of
Perfect Batman.
a perfect Batman because he has the comedy of Dick Grayson, but he's badass like Batman.
It's like
So
that.
he's going to have that.
Batman and
That's the
Robot Chicken,
combination.
too.
of it. He's going to be sarcastic and funny. Color schemes, I'm thinking, are black and dark blue for the top half, and then the bottom half, instead of wearing tights, he's going to wear the baggy black, combat pants
camouflage
and
scrubs.
boots.
He could
No,
wear
God
camouflage
damn it,
scrubs.
Ron! You're fucking this all up. You're trying to be funny, but you're fucking up my cartoon
You
comic
could
book
do it
character.
like after he heals his friend, like the bullet comes out. He's like, "Wow, thank you, doctor." And he just looks down at him. Don't call me doctor.
No. He's going to use the same thing that they used in the Navy SEALs movie. He's going to say, he's going to do this. He's going to be like, "Thank you. I was never here."
What about
Or "You're welcome, but I was never here."
What about like somebody's like, wow, or he's like a civil, he's in his whatever, like he gets known walking down the street, someone walks by him, they're like, "Thank you for your service, doctor." Turns around, "I'm not a doctor."
Would he go around wearing a mask then?
Yeah,
yeah.
just the eye one. Just the one that covers the eyes.
The Incredibles type of mask.
yeah, that type, or the Nightwing wears, kind of like that.
Oh yeah.
No cowl, no nothing like that. But it's going to be black and blue up top, the baggy combat pants with boots, and I'm thinking he's going to ride probably a motorcycle. He
Well,
can't fly or anything like that.
The other thing
Yeah.
is, if he's doing, something in the medical field, wouldn't he wear a face mask of some sorts?
No, motherfucker, he's not in medical field. He's a fucking superhero.
Yeah, but some,
An SF medic is not a. You're fucking this all up. A
Even
special forces
Superman
medic.
sometimes wears a mask. He can
A
get a
super
disease.
forces. A special forces medic is not a fucking. Not like a nurse or something, Ron. He's still a fucking Green Beret. Period. Bottom
you're
line, that's
saying-
what he does.
So you're saying don't call him doctor.
He carries a gun. He still shoots people. All that stuff.
so he goes against his Hippocratic oath. He killed.
No, motherfucker. He doesn't take a Hippocratic oath. The only people who take the Hippocratic oath are medical doctors and doctors of osteopathic medicine. I don't
Well-
take a Hippocratic oath.
He wouldn't have to take the oath because the Hippocratic oath is hypothetical.
And of course, he's not a doctor.
Hypothetical.
He's
Yeah,
not a
don't
doctor.
call him doctor.
Don't call him doctor. So,
You know what, Ron? You better hope that your pitch for a comic book superhero is fucking awesome. 'cause
Yeah, it's
I'm
gotta
gonna
be
rip it.
A1.
I'm
It
gonna
has to be the
fucking
best
rip it
pitch
to
we've
fucking
ever
apart.
I would expect
I like
no
it though.
difference.
You managed in this world where there's a superhero for literally everything. You managed to come up with something original, which is hard.
I do like that.
And I do want to say this. Here's the important thing that I've noticed from looking at comic book superheroes over the years is if you're, and not saying that it's doomed, but basically if you don't make your superhero have black hair, they're pretty much fucked.
So
What do you mean?
You have to, the majority of the comic book superheroes have dark hair.
Yeah.
If they have blonde hair, they have less, it seems like they are less popular.
It goes back and forth. I mean, yes, there are some like Captain Marvel is popular now, but that was after, you know, $1 billion movie and
Oh, yeah,
A
but that's a
couple-
female, though.
But Captain
Yeah, a
America
couple of
had
Reddit.
blonde hair.
that's true. We just don't see it very often.
You just
No.
don't see it often. If you look at, say, okay, look at the DC side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Aquaman, not the most popular superhero.
Yeah, but
It's true.
total
He did
badass.
have blonde hair.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how badass you make Aquaman. Sure, technically, and this is where you get a little bit of annoyances with like Gods Among Us, and they make it seem like Superman could kick Aquaman's ass, but really, he really can't. They can pretty much go toe to toe.
Yeah, I mean their
Yeah.
power levels are pretty similar.
But does everybody sit there and think that Aquaman is a badass? No, not
No.
really.
I do.
Interesting.
But I think it's because of the color scheme that they picked for his uniform and because they gave him blonde hair. I think that's a lot of it. Now you've got the movie Aquaman,
Who looks nothing like that.
looks nothing like that, but who has mass appeal.
Yes.
So definitely speaking, I would say that my character is definitely going to have black hair, or if you really want to take it old school, it's going to be black blue hair.
Okay.
And what I've also found interesting is that a lot of times, if you look up the color of, say, Superman's eyes or Batman's eyes, which is odd, they both have blue eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I would not make
sometimes
it.
has blue hair.
Oh,
Yeah, well, that's the old school. If you want to take it to old school, they've got like the Roy Orbison blue
Yeah.
black hair or the Elvis blue black hair.
Okay. So, on that note, as long as we're going over what they look like, is your would your comic book?
You're gonna fuck it up. Don't
No,
fuck it up.
I'm not going to fuck it up. I've actually got a legitimate question. Would he have to wear some sort of gloves at all times? Because if he
Yes. Yep. And actually, this is a good question, Ronz.
well,
His
thank you.
top, yeah, his top is, like I said, it would be black and blue, but it's going to stop at like the mid bicep for a shirt. So he's not going to have the whole long going all the way down. And then he'll wear black gloves.
So, question: if his superpower is transferred through touch, wouldn't he have to cover
No,
his entire
didn't say
body?
that.
Wouldn't he have
No,
to cover
didn't say that.
cover his body?
Didn't say that. Didn't say that. I never said that.
Okay,
That's true.
that is true. So he
I
can.
did say that he was able to blast them from a distance.
No, I'm talking about the
But what we have to do,
hands-on.
you're talking about the healing part.
Yeah,
of
the
it.
healing
It
part.
wouldn't, I don't think that it would be stopped by gloves of all things.
No, he just wears the gloves for badassery.
I mean,
it's a badass look.
Spider-Man's gloves don't have, you know, the whatever on them, but they work through the gloves.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I see that.
No, I think the gloves are just a look.
Just
And
an
there's going to be
accessory.
some way. There has to be some way also to develop it where I would limit his healing abilities because you can't just go around being able to heal everybody.
Yeah.
honestly. Because that's what you would do 24 hours a day. So that would, I think that first initial one that he does is out of pure emotion and not knowing anything about his powers.
hmm
So I would have to change it in some way where he can't heal
So
everybody.
here's a follow up. Then would he develop a God complex, saying that he can heal people, and then realize he can't heal people?
Are you talking about like Jesus?
Yeah, but
how Jesus couldn't heal people unless they believed in him?
well, it's sort of like that because
Well,
with it, it's a flip side. He has to believe in himself, but when you go around healing people, and now he can heal people, and then all of a sudden he can't heal people. If he can heal people, does his mentality take an up spike like I am God, you will listen, and all
No,
that?
maybe. I mean, that could be a few or farther down plot twist, but I think what
Right.
it'll have to end up being is that his ability to heal someone will limit the ability of the rest of his powers.
Right.
In other words,
Or- yeah.
if you were able to heal somebody, you might not be able to deliver the other stuff that you can do, like the shooting the blast of the paralytic or the pain medication or whatever. It's going
I
to take
think-
a lot out of him.
I think it's interesting though if we go back to Jesus, because we also know Jesus was a carpenter. Would he not build you the table if you didn't believe in him?
That's true, right?
Well, I mean,
Like-
how skilled was he as a carpenter? That's what we don't.
I don't know. I imagine he was the son of God. He was probably a damn good carpenter.
Well,
like
no, but we don't know for sure, and we don't know. There's a scene in what's the name of it? That snuff film that they made about Jesus. It was basically a snuff film.
The one we
The one that Mel
That's
Gibson
dark.
made.
yeah,
one that
the one
Mel
that we
Gibson
own
made.
on VHS.
We own that?
Yeah,
No, we don't.
yeah, we do.
No, that's not
That's
the one
how
that
I
we
knew
own.
about it.
That's not the one that we own.
I thought we owned both.
Oh, I don't think so. Anyway, that the snuff film that they made, there's a funny part of it where Jesus invents the table. That's what Skylar's talking about.
Okay.
Yeah,
Which you're like, why would Jesus invent the table? They didn't sit on chairs.
yeah. If,
You have
if
to
there's
have your
no
last
table,
meal
what do
on
you
it.
need?
Right, but they didn't. You can. Oh my God, culture. Let's talk about. Not every.
But
Not
what do
every
you?
culture sits in a chair.
I feel like, so let's imagine, I have not read very much of the Bible, so this is all hypothetical. Let's imagine, you're living in a small village with Jesus and you see him helping and healing people. Who wouldn't ask him for a table? I feel like all his days would just be spent fulfilling orders. Like,
You're like, yeah, I know what
you
you're.
cured me of lupus. Like, please build my table. Like, I feel like he just would have gotten flooded with requests.
So you're saying that he didn't really die at the hands of the Romans? He asked them to kill him because he was exhausted?
And made two
No.
tables?
They probably had him build the crosses. He was,
Well, that's what I was going to
sticking on
ask. I'm like, do you think they made him build the crosses? But in that Mel Gibson movie, he was building crosses. That's the interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. And then, I guess they would come along looking for the cross and they go, well, you nailed it. Now guess what's
Well,
up?
they tried to like stiff him on how much money he was getting for each cross. They tried to Jew him down.
They tried to do a deal.
You
tried
down. Wow.
What I want to know is, though, did they decide to betray him before or after he built the cross? Like, did he just do a bad job of building the cross, and they were like, "Well, this is where you'll lie," or
This
if he
is how we do it in Rome.
or if he had
It was
just
a
built
shade
the
project.
cross a little bit better, then Jesus would still be alive today. Was he human? I don't understand. Is Jesus a human just with powers, or is he a metahuman?
I think he might have been one of the original superheroes.
Yeah, he was.
Well, he was probably
definitely
the
a
original
metahuman.
superhero.
Definitely a metahuman.
All right, so what do you think of my comic book character, by the way?
I like it.
I like
It's
it too.
very hard to come up with something original, honestly.
Yeah, and I think that it's really important to once again say that if I see this out there, I'm gonna fucking sue.
But it kind of
But if
reminds me of.
if you use the line, "He's not a doctor," I will just ask for royalties. I will not sue.
But it kind of reminds me of Pushing Daisies, the series, right? It's this guy had the ability.
Why would
I don't
you
know,
ever
what do you
push a
say?
flower?
Here's my question: whenever you say "right," are you assuming that we know what you're talking about?
Why would
Yeah,
you ever
definitely.
push a flower? It's defenseless.
It is. But this guy had the ability to reanimate the dead by touching them, right? And
I don't know.
Appropriately,
I'm
I would
not sure.
hope.
I don't know.
But yeah, I do,
Appropriately or inappropriate touch.
that's depending on how you look at the way he was
He's
touching.
reanimating one part at a time.
Yeah. But
It's just imagine you get a superpower. You can bring anyone back to life, but you gotta jerk them off.
But
Do you
they
do
got when they come back, they're racist.
oh, Right?
Well, if you revive a racist man, is he just not racist?
There's
Does
always
it
a
cancel
catch.
out?
No, there's always a condition to bringing them back.
I mean, I guess they were
So,
dead.
with the
Like that Tom,
superhero,
like the question that Tom asks the guys in the spa. And he's like, "Would you rather have a pouch with a tiny kangaroo in it, or would you rather be in the pouch, of a
pouch.
giant kangaroo?"
no, that's a good
true.
question.
Like
I
tiny
really don't know.
Consequences.
So anyway,
You can't change
what's the
kangaroos are racist.
as this guy progresses? What's his mental capacity then? Is it going to drop or
Well, the other thing you have to do is
with the
you have to
Gothic
establish
complex.
the bad guy.
And what's his
He
bad
has to
guy
go
going to
through.
be like?
What's his what?
What's the bad guy going to be like?
Are you going to do the thing where it's
Now
the
here's
polar
the thing.
opposite?
Here's what I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
Because you kept harping on the doctor thing. The bad guy is a doctor.
A malpractice doctor.
The bad guy is a doctor.
Would he be
Call
a
him doctor.
doctor of?
He
I don't
just
have a
heals
name.
people, and then he says, "Do call me doctor." Because
So he's going to be a
doctor.
doctor that skillfully kills people.
Oh, I mean, those exist. That's
Right.
plausible.
So he's a doctor of death, Dr. Death.
like a Dr. Kevorkian.
No. Dr. Kevorkian does not do it in a way that's not detectable. These are people. I'm talking about somebody who's a flat out murderer who's getting away with murder.
Ah,
So he's
But
the
not
Al
in
Gore
any
of
way-
the medical field.
Not in any way that comes back to him that it's found out that he is actually killing people. But he's going to
That's
have
pretty good.
superpowers also. He's not just going to be a normal.
A normal killing doctor.
Right.
what would his powers
Okay.
be?
I haven't developed any of that yet.
That's
This
fine.
is a comics pitch.
Yeah, so that was a good pitch. I would approve it. I would approve it at least for a mini series. So let's move on.
How many?
to-
Yeah, let's move on to the fantastic fucking idea that the Ronz has got.
I would give it a 6-issue miniseries.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you.
With a backstory or just a full shot?
Well, the first, I would suggest cutting back and forth. Like we see him in the field healing, give a little flashback to what happened there. Then we progress, and then we go back, etc., etc.
Oh, interesting. What's the etc. like?
Well,
stalling.
yeah.
Stop
what's your,
stalling and pitch your fucking comic.
Yeah, well, let's do this. We'll say if we would approve it or not, if we would go full series issue or mini series, how many issues, etc. I would give Dad. I would give you a 6-issue mini series. If you fleshed it out well enough, definitely go to full series.
Okay, let me ask you this question: if I do the 6-issue miniseries,
Yeah,
what? Because he's not going to be, unless he really blows up because of some of the limitations of his powers. You wouldn't call him like an A-lister superhero.
no, it takes a long time to even get there in general.
So, but who would you somehow link him in with?
If we had to do something where we would link him
Yeah.
in with, obvious choice is Punisher.
Yes.
Definitely. I
think
was.
you're right.
When you started mentioning this, I'm thinking Frank Castle, and yeah, right, but not Dr. Octopus. That'd be wrong.
You could even do a crossover where Punisher is sent to kill the main character of the miniseries.
Wow, that'd be a great thing. 2 combat vets against each other, but that's already been done a lot. I would think that to him being not a doctor, but in the medical field, you'd have to pit him against someone who is his mental equal. And
You could even do this. You could retcon it that he and the Punisher were,
In the
alive
same
at the
squad?
same time.
Or
Yeah, and
operating in the same area.
he didn't use his powers to save the Punisher's family because he had already been tapped out or whatever. So now there's this grudge that just builds. Or like you could have him pick
or his nemesis
some whatever.
or his nemesis could be someone that he saved that really wanted to die.
Yeah,
Right?
there's a lot of interesting things you could do with it.
Definitely.
All right.
I like that.
Cool.
Yeah, that's definitely a work. I'd give it a 6 with some tie-ins as background characters in other comic books to
Yeah.
give it a push. Right?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Because I think a lot of background characters, when they really want to bring them to the forefront, they push them in other comics, right? And once again, I'm against
they birth them
I'm against that storytime arc, but if it means that it gets that character a little bit more well known, I guess I could go with that.
Yeah.
All right, so that is greenlit. That is approved. Let's move on to the next pitch.
I really haven't given this too much.
Holy fuck! Okay, go ahead.
What? I haven't really given it too much thought, but I guess if anything, I'm a big sci-fi fan. So, given the fact that you've got a lot of everything that can deal with, and I've watched a lot of horror movies, a lot of sci-fi movies. It's hard to come up with something original that hasn't already been concepted or been done. So
Yes.
I really don't have one per se, other than I like the idea of time travel and just basically going back and witnessing everything and writing it down. However, if you look at, what was it, Good Omens, someone who could see the future and then wrote about it, that's Nostradamus per se. Someone who could go in the past and change the past, that was, numerous characters, right? I'm also a big Batman fan, but every time I think, well, if I were to develop something like that and Batman went rogue, then let's flip that on me. You've got Frank Castle, the Punisher, who's got highly intelligent, highly adaptability in all situations. And he's like Batman. He's just underground, works within a certain set of people, circles. He's revered and feared at the same time by everybody that he knows. So honestly, every time I came up with a concept, I didn't have something that was brand new.
Right, and it's hard to come up because there's good story ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard to not find a character that fits in with those same
I
ideas
agree.
that you're trying to do.
And when I thought of a character, then there's the X-Men, right? That was known, that had the power to make people forget who he was. And I'm like, oh, that's a great power, but it's already been done, right?
Yeah, the positive thing, though, is sometimes those concepts aren't expanded upon very deeply or not deeply enough so that you could always argue that there's more room in the space for the story you're trying to tell. Because, people tell the same story over and over again. There's going to be overlap.
I
So
guess
if you're going to just take a classic character then and tell us how you would like to see a spin or what storyline.
That's what mine is I would take a classic character and then tell you my story. So I want to see what Ron says.
I think if I had to develop something more for the modern line, I think it would be someone who has attention deficit disorder, right? Who can't remember anything from one point to another, but he lives in the now moment, right?
Okay.
And
that's not attention deficit disorder.
It is if they can't pay attention to the facts, like, oh, he shot with a bullet.
People with attention deficit disorder doesn't mean they can't remember something. That's not what that means.
It does for me sometimes. But
that's not what that means. Go ahead.
What do you mean?
Attention deficit disorder means that they lack the ability to pay attention. That's all that means. It doesn't mean they don't remember anything.
Really?
They can remember. They just don't pay attention.
It's just a lack of...
They don't have a memory. It's not saying that they can't remember something.
Yeah.
Well, it's sort of like, maybe they can't remember to stay focused. Right?
It could just be like an extreme, you could always make a specific character like an extreme case. Everything is different.
Yeah, definitely. So. Or someone who has the ability to make people lose focus, right? So when he shows up on site, if he's a villain, he can make people just lose focus on what they're doing. Or if he's on site and we'll flip it on me, he has the ability to make them focus, laser focus, and get the job done. So that's one concept that I was hashing about. Being a big fan of sci-fi, it's hard, like I said. You got recently with the invention of what's going on in the world, it's like I started rewatching Logan's Run. And if you remember Logan's Run, it's about people who are dying at 30. All right. And in the book, it's 21. And it's a really great concept of what if we only had a certain number of moments in time and we had to get everything done in that. And of course, Justin Timberlake starred in that movie, like the same concept. And I'm like, well, there goes that concept. Right? Yeah. And you can live forever if you had enough time, right? And but once your time ran out, you were dead. Plain and simple, you just died. But no one ever aged. And I thought that was a great thing. Then you got, who's the Superman villain that doesn't age? And he's been around since Caveman. I can't think of his name.
I don't remember who it is, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Mitzelplick?
No, that's the Fifth Dimension character. It's not Doc Savage, right? But
I don't know.
But he's the one person that, he's been around forever and he's seen it all and he wants to take over the world. And, I always thought being a Green Lantern would be really cool. And then I thought,
again, what concept?
What concept?
What character would you like to have do a
if you had to narrow it down, if you were given the green light for a 6-issue series, what character would you pick? Who would you have your villain fight against?
I do have a concept that no one's really breached upon, but it's like some guy who can absorb all the hate in the world, right? He shows up to a conflict and he just absorbs the negative feelings, right? And it just turns everybody in from whatever being a villain to being a nice guy, if he can do that. Now, the bad thing is, as he internalizes all this rage and hate, he's got to put it somewhere.
Right.
And he doesn't know what to do with it. He either goes crazy, or if he has to release it, it's actually going to be released into somebody else. And there's that conflict where it's sort of like a bomb inside of him, right? It's going to go off. So he's going around absorbing all the negative feelings of the world or whatever, and he doesn't know how to release it.
Isn't that like the guy in the Green Mile?
I don't think I haven't seen that movie.
I haven't seen it.
The Green Mile? That's
it's Tom Hanks again.
Tom Hanks?
Yeah.
The character that's in there that's on death row is able to absorb other people's pain. And then he just basically blows it out, but he can only do it so much. It's pretty cool.
I'll have to. It's on my list of things to watch. I also have to read it because I know it's a good book.
Right.
But it's just one of those concepts.
So you're gonna make up this character.
Well, one of the other concepts is because
you get one.
Oh,
you get one.
Well,
this is your pitch. What's the one?
Here's the sad thing is I feel like that his pitch is so discombobulated that somebody would actually give it to him over mine.
And I think the villain on the concept would be this guy who just doesn't like anybody. I mean, literally doesn't like anybody, and he goes around touching them and they die. He doesn't want to be around anybody, or if he wants to take over the world, he just touches people and they die. So eventually, these two are going to come together where one absorbs the other. It's either extreme hatred or extreme nothingness. Right?
It's pretty cool.
So, and I think we've all been like that at some point in our lives where this is how it's relatable. It's like you go up to that person and you're like, listen, I just want you to disappear. Just leave me alone. And if I could touch you, make you disappear, that'd be great.
I've done that before. The subway worker was not happy. I was like...
And of course, the other thing is working in conflict resolution. The first thing you want to do is absorb those negative feelings. I'm like, how can I help you? Or this is how you can be a better person. But what do you do once you absorb those feelings from the other person? Being an empathic person, I guess, is the term.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would give you the limited series order.
No.
I definitely would bring other established people on to help you centralize the focus.
To make your focus more focused.
Yeah. The Adventures of an Empathic Person Who Can't Make Up Their Mind.
I'd give it a mini series green light with help. We'd have to bring in some help.
Like who?
Like anybody to organize your thoughts.
We'll get you comic book writer Dan Slott. He's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Well, who would be the background characters in there helping him?
I feel like I'm trying to think of what even.
I'm trying to think of real people.
Yeah.
I've been like, we'll get you a team of writers.
But I'm thinking that his concepts are so bizarre that I think that I would link him with Constantine.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Constantine.
I think I would go Justice League Dark type with him.
Oh,
that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Going to the magic realm.
Could get that character to appear in like Constantine or Zatanna, anything like that.
Oh, and the eternal struggle between light and good. Because if good gets him, then good prevails. If dark gets him, then the entire world goes to hell, and all that hate gets spread back all over.
What do you think
could
about making this character a kid?
Ooh, that'd be good.
Well,
You could even do it like
one that's coming into puberty or something like that.
well, that's like Good Omens. Have you seen that?
No.
Right, I highly recommend it. It's like
Is that the one with the two angels?
Yeah, the demon and the angels are best friends or friends.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I watched the first episode. It looked pretty good.
Yeah, and they mix up Lucifer's kid with another kid. Right? Spoiler alert. It's like,
oh gosh,
it's a really good show. You have to watch it.
I will have to watch it. I watched the first episode. I'm gonna start watching the rest of it.
It's hilarious.
all right.
But it's
Well, we'll
different.
give you the green light for it.
All right.
I think it would be. You could make them kids.
You could even do
You could
what I
actually
think.
make them that were twins that were separated.
What I would even do is you could do if it takes place in the DC universe, have both of them being courted by each side, the Justice League and the Dark Justice League.
Even better. Have one in the Marvel and one in the DC, and that way we can have a crossover series.
Oh gosh.
That has not gone well in the past for crossing over both Marvel and DC. It's just too edgy.
Yeah, I think it would be cool though to have them as kids entering becoming pubescent.
And it's good because there's a lot of conflict there as you're growing.
Right, because you're growing. You're like, what if you just lose your shit and kill somebody, but you're the good guy?
Or you could be. I would like the flashback. It's sort of like you're an adult and then you flash back and you can see how you came to that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But I think it would be cool also if you had them related, like if they were like maternal twins, separated
like two
at
sides
birth.
of the same coin.
Maternal
the
twins
same
separated
person.
at birth.
What if they were the same person, but they never knew it? Is a split psyche, but
That's good too.
That's good too.
Yeah,
They play up the mental illness part of it.
You could do that. Yeah, you could even pinpoint like their problem with everything being that they're separated.
And the-
so
Oh
that they
shit!
could-
You could get really crazy with it and have the original person who was their original psychologist be Harley Quinn.
and then the
Ooh.
ADHD would come into play because it's like he couldn't, why he could focus at points, he couldn't focus all the time because he keeps splitting back and forth.
Yeah, that's good. I like that concept.
So I like that a lot.
There you go. We have greenlit your book.
And see, this was the point. It was like take this idea and see if we can build on this idea. Your idea was not really an idea, but we took it.
Well, that's why you greenlight this stuff, or you sit around and talk about it. So
All
anyway,
right, air quotes again. You
Air
can't
quotes.
steal Ron's character.
yeah, you
trademark.
can't do that trademark.
Now trademark, just like mine was trademarked.
So,
if we find this really loose concept,
Well,
I feel like we could
the
super just about anything right now with a
don't know
loose
what he would
concept
wear.
that you just gave us.
thing is, I don't know what he would wear. I mean, he would go back between being successful to being really poor. I mean, you've got
I
the
think
flip
he's
side of
homeless.
both.
Let's make him homeless.
Homeless, that's even better, right? That way, and then actually
Put him in the army. Put him in the army green trench coat.
Mhm.
Cut off fingerless gloves, the t-shirt and jeans.
So one side of that personality, he would be successful. The other side was he wants to be alone. He would be homeless. So he could never understand why he's in these clothes at one point.
A little bit related to actually how Moon Knight has like 3 split personalities. One's rich, one's poor, one is like a classic working man. So it's been done before. You can do it pretty well.
Yeah, I like that. But such extremeness is like, since the ADHD would come into play, he can't remember or he can't focus why he winds up in these clothes one point, and so he must be homeless, or now he's homeless.
You're not referencing ADD or ADHD. Just to clarify, people who are listening, that is not the correct diagnosis that you're referencing.
We will not diagnose you on this podcast. We promise.
It's not.
Excuse me.
It's not short. It's not short-term memory disorder.
But I was going to say you can't pay attention to a point.
Okay, that's one thing, but you're referencing something else completely also. Just because you have ADD doesn't mean you can't remember.
I said ADHD. Jeez.
That's also the same
Just
thing.
adding an H does not take away the memory.
Doesn't mean memory disorder.
All right, like it matters, but okay. But yeah, the split personality thing comes into mind, right? It's sort of like a Harvey Dent Joker mixed into one.
Yeah. Well, that's good. There you go. We got that. We've greenlit the concept.
You keep going back to Greenlight, but I like that. And we could call him Greenlight Concept.
Green light concept.
All right,
What a
let's
name
hear.
for a
let's
band.
move on to
hear
Sky.
what should hopefully be the creme de la creme here. Another comic book nerd, if you will.
All right. So I wasn't notified too ahead of time, but I think I came up with a concept that I like. At some point, I do want to write comic books. Like, I want to, as a goal, write for some of my favorite comic book heroes. One thing I would do, this pitch I would give, is for my take on a Batman story. So
Intriguing.
I would create an entirely new. Yes, I would do. So basically, what I would do is I would do the thing where you create a brand new villain, but instead of a psycho who attacks Batman on rooftops, etc., I would do. I'm pretty sure it's been done before. There's so much Batman, you just can't read and catch up on all of it.
No, it's impossible.
Basically what my story would be is we would see a decently successful Bruce Wayne who's navigated Batman for a while. Maybe say he's like in year 3 of doing it. So he's not new. Everything is routine. He knows basically all the stops of everything he has to do. I would introduce a new villain who basically strips away his entire ability to be Batman and start by beating Batman and taking everything away from him. And then after that, when he is, beaten as Batman, then you start taking everything away from Bruce Wayne also. It's because he lives 2 lives. So I think it'd be interesting to take away both of them. Rather than
I like that concept so far, but I've heard that concept before.
There's a couple but the way I'm thinking of it is because I know it's been done before where you attack, the hero and then the persona behind the hero. This would be like a one-shot series set alternate universe, so you can do whatever you want with the characters.
Oh, good play. I don't think
so. I don't think. Yeah, so it would be basically what I think it would be is you've got a Batman in year 3. Things obviously, Batman never has the perfect life, but things are close. He's got, say, the Bat family going with him. Alfred is all there in good shape. The mansion's all fine. Everything is normal. You could literally throw a dart at any comic book in his history where he's having a normal time, and this is that.
Okay.
And then you enter in this enemy that he has zero relation to. There's no backstory link. There's no, reason that he's doing this. Batman never scorned him, nothing. You introduce a new character who is purely going after Batman and Bruce Wayne for just the ability of that they can do it and try and tear down one of, the world's greatest heroes and detectives.
Because he can.
Just because he can.
Kind of like the Dr. Moriarty idea.
Yes. So
there was also the Kingpin who did that to Matt Murdock. Once he found out his identity, he didn't go after Daredevil. He went after Matt Murdock. He went
after,
and tore him down.
Which is a really good story.
Yeah, and then went after Daredevil. But Matt Murdock never knew who was tearing his life apart on both sides. He knew Wilson, the Kingpin up front was trying to tear him down, but he never knew it was him tearing down his life behind the scenes too.
Yeah, so it's kind of that similar story. So you take away, but instead of taking away, everything from Batman at once or everything from Bruce Wayne at once, you start slowly taking away from each side. So a little bit of his life disappears on Batman's end, a little bit of his life disappears on Bruce Wayne's end until the ends just start meeting up in the middle where he's got nothing left. So I would do, let's say he's got Robin and Batgirl and they all go on their missions and everything. You would kill off either Robin or Batgirl.
So I was just going to ask, are you going to start killing people off?
So it's going to be
emotionally scar them somehow.
It's going to be the most routine looking, conflict that is so menial that it doesn't require Batman to go. And it's just, so Barbara Gordon or whatever version of Robin we have ends up going to that mission alone because, it's so small and insignificant. Batman doesn't have to go. and then it turns into they end up getting killed, and he feels guilty because he didn't know he had to go, and it was just is a blink and you miss it moment where he just is playing it back over and over in his head, like it's so menial, but he could have gone to do it, et cetera, et cetera. So you start playing with his mental state after you take away the first family member. So you've taken away family members are on both sides of Batman and Bruce Wayne, but you've taken away one of the main characters.
So what you're saying is the ability that Batman can't protect all his family members, and he loses that ability to basically fathom that they're gone.
The whole thing would be that Bruce Wayne doesn't have, like a huge ego. He's not like, I'm the best superhero in the world. So you're tearing down the fact that you're already starting with someone who is weak and doesn't necessarily completely believe in themselves anyway, and you're shoving it back in his face saying, everybody thinks of you as a god, but I think of you as a man. And then you just start slowly taking away, like, you blow up the Batcave. That's a pretty big one. Leave him his house, and then just go through and you just basically take away stuff on every side. That's the story I would tell.
I think it would be really good. It's a good idea to crush Batman mentally. I would say that if I wanted to make this really intriguing for me to read it, stick with me here. There's a concept.
All right.
Is if you make, we all know that a lot of the storylines, I'm assuming you're going to do alternate universe with this.
Yeah.
So a lot of the storylines, Alfred has been there since Bruce was born.
Right.
What if you altered the storyline and made it so that Bruce's parents died when he was a little bit older, and Alfred didn't come into his life until maybe like a year before they died.
Mm-hmm.
And Alfred is a lot younger than he's portrayed, and he's a badass.
Like, ooh, that'd be pretty good too.
SAS, like a special air services, like he is most of the time. They always say that
he is a badass.
Yeah, I'm not done, Ronz. I know that he is, but now we're making him younger, like he just recently left that.
Yeah, de-aging him to put him in this space with also young Bruce Wayne.
So Bruce Wayne, let's say that instead of having him where his parents died when he's like 9, that they actually died when maybe he was like 15.
Yeah.
And Alfred's the one that trains him to become the Batman. And then this storyline takes place, and when the Batman is so crushed, Alfred has to step in to be the Batman.
That would be amazing.
That would be good.
It's interesting to de-age Alfred also, because it doesn't, I don't want to say it necessarily makes him more relatable to Batman, but it's definitely more that they would clash, which is something that you see a little bit because Alfred doesn't always just give him what he wants. But I think that'd be really interesting.
Yeah, because a lot of times Alfred's like his pseudo-father figure, which technically he is because he's been with him his whole adult life.
Yeah, he's known him more than his parents.
But if you took it down, if you broke it down and made him like if you made him almost like the Lady Shiva character, who's supposed to be the greatest martial artist in the world who helped train the Bat, if you took him into the mentor role instead and it made him step in when the Bat becomes mentally unstable.
Yeah.
To bring him back out of the depths of hell, but he has to be the Bat for a short period of time. I think that would be pretty badass.
Yeah, I like the concept of de-aging him.
Taking that and running with it, though, I think just to make it, twisting the knife, is you have a defeated Bruce Wayne and Alfred steps in and he's going and he's, cleaning up all of the mess that's being made. I would say you kill Alfred.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd say you kill Alfred because that's like the final, like after everything that's been taken away, Alfred will finally step in and he gets killed. But you have it where Alfred looks exactly like Batman. Nobody on the street would be able to determine that's a different Batman running around. And then so that you add that extra guilt on where Bruce is like, if I had just died, Alfred would still be alive. At least that's the very least of something that you could have.
So you'd have to really develop the Alfred character. Like I said, make him this giant, like the 6'4", badass.
Stripping away Batman's humanity then.
Yeah.
Right. And then.
So you just completely destroy him. And then from there, it goes on to where it's finally revealed, that because supervillains always do, like, they reveal their great plan, they reveal why they did anything, but you just get to, it's just a guy who had the means to do it, and he did it because he could. There was no ulterior motive, and Batman can't cope with the fact that somebody would just destroy him for no reason when there are so many villains that have every reason to hate him.
Well, isn't that why the Joker does things? It's like he's the
Just because?
Yeah, just
Because,
yeah.
just to see chaos.
Just to see chaos. So this guy's just doing it just because, and I like that. I like that.
Yeah, my recommendation for that is definitely don't make him a character.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Don't make him something ridiculous like the Riddler.
No,
don't make him ridiculous like Kite Man or something.
No. Well, no. I like that concept, but if you just make him a background character, just destroying everything that Batman stood for, just as a background character, that would bring everybody out of the woodwork. Like, wow, this guy just went unnoticed, and he was always a background guy, right? He's not a super villain. He doesn't have any superpowers, like Sky said. He's just
definitely.
Because. But everybody wants, when you get that villain, they forefront that villain to the foreground, and they put the focus on him. What if the villain just fades away and he's just a background character, right? And no one knows who he was. No one does anything about it, because he's just invisible, basically, just because he can.
Yeah. Yeah, and you definitely
he's
don't want to make it like...
Yeah, he is a gray man.
Yeah, you just definitely don't want to, like, not even a recurring character, in other mainstream forms of it like that. It's all strictly contained within its own universe. So that's what I would do. That is my comic book pitch.
And I would call him Gray Man.
Yeah, Gray Man. And here's great. Here's another thing, is that because he could be in other comic books, what if after he destroys Batman, he's just like, okay, who else can I destroy like this? And he starts doing it again.
As long as it's contained in the same, like, actual universe where that comic book takes place, there's no reason he couldn't do something like Superman next, or Wonder Woman or anything.
But you have to have a resurgence of the Bat, though. That's the thing. Eventually,
you have to have him come back.
Either the Batman has to come back, and this villain doesn't have to be defeated. Like we said,
he's got to pay in some way.
He's got to pay in some way, and maybe then he decides that the Batman's not worth it. Let me move on to somebody else.
Why does he have to pay?
But he's got to get away.
He doesn't even have to pay. It's just, he's just one of these guys who just goes around like, okay.
Because comic book readers don't want to see no justice given.
Yeah, as far as the story goes, you could leave a defeated, crushed Batman, but as far as comics go, we have to have Batman.
That's what Bane did when he broke his back. He crushed Batman's spirit and everything. And the entire world wanted Batman back. And they had various villains for Batman, which wasn't
just John Paul Valley.
What's that?
Yeah, but that was the storyline that they decided all along. It's not like they pulled the storyline out of their ass and did it as they went. They knew what they were going to write the whole time.
Well, actually, in my opinion, they did, because if you watch that storyline arc, it was called The Nightfall, is they started replacing...
I got it.
Yeah, they started replacing... Actually, DC characters started replacing the main characters. Like when Superman died, they put, John Steele in charge. When Hawkman...
but you're thinking cinematic universe wise. Do you really think the comics had no plan?
Usually they have a very long, drawn out plan.
They've got a plan for what they're going to do. They never planned to get rid of Batman.
They plan about like 200 issues ahead.
Well, what I'm getting at is what they were going to do is, it sounded like that they were getting rid of the main characters and bringing in other characters just to see if the fans would accept it. Sort of like when they got rid of Hal Jordan as Green Lantern, right? And they had all these other characters and no one liked him. So they said, okay, we just tested the waters out. Here's another character. And they brought back Hal Jordan.
But I don't think they did that to get rid of Hal Jordan. I think they did that to introduce other Green Lanterns.
Okay, that's one concept.
What I'm saying is, I think that they already planned all that stuff out.
But if you look at the DC,
the only thing
it was Superman, Batman, and I think Wonder Woman.
But they never planned. I don't think they ever planned to say, hey, maybe everybody will accept John Paul Valley as the new Batman. No, they had a plan. That whole thing was story arced out from before they even wrote it. But like, hey, this is what we're going to do. And then we're going to bring Batman back in the end.
But if the fans liked it enough, they might have kept it. Everything's fan based. I agree with that. Right. So maybe they did have that story arc going into the end, but it didn't seem like it to me. It seemed like they were just waiting on the fans to react, and when they react negatively, they're like, "Oh, here's Bruce Wayne. He's alive again, or he's all healed. He's back."
Yeah,
I don't know
it just
because
depends.
in that
They do that for
I
certain
don't know
stories.
because in that storyline they set him up not to be liked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He kept changing the Batman's uniform. He kept not operating the way the Bat did. He kept getting increasingly violent. He kept getting at odds with Tim, who was Robin at the time.
Yeah, but
They
Tim
kept trying to
wanted to
get
be the
Dick
new
to come
Batman.
back. Tim didn't want to be Batman. What storyline are you reading? Tim was the one trying to rein in John Paul Valley and told him he was too violent and wasn't doing things the way Batman did. So that's why I don't think they ever planned on John Paul Valley becoming Batman. They planned
Nightfall
on
is such a big story. I'm sure they probably planned that one pretty far in advance. But there are a lot of stories where they don't do that, especially with huge mainline characters where they will dip their toes in the water and see. But the characterizations of the guy who took over for Batman while his back is broken doesn't seem like, they were testing the waters for it. They were just coming with a character to replace him.
Yeah, they brought him in as a controversy in the first place because Dick thought that Batman would have asked him to be the Bat, but he didn't. He asked John Paul Valley to do it, who was, what's his name? He's from the Knights of whatever. But yeah, they set him up not to be a likable character. So that's why I don't think they ever plan on him being anything other than this different Batman for a period of time, because he was always at odds with Robin from the get-go.
Yeah. Plus, you've got that was the 80s, I'm assuming. This Nightfall storyline. Batman's already been around, Lord knows how many years by then, too.
Right.
Well, Batman's been around for a very, very long time.
Over 75
I'd
years.
say over 5 or 6 years now.
Yeah.
At least.
Well, by his timeline, he's only been doing it for 7 years? Less than 10? I don't know.
But yeah.
All right, well, here's the thing. I'm going to give yours though. I wanted to do the whole year series, kind of like they did with Grayson.
Yeah.
It might go into 3 years, but I think that's a good developing storyline arc personally. It needs more than 6 issues.
Yeah, it definitely needs a lot. I would even go graphic novel on it.
I would go graphic novel on that, or a what else, or what is DC's what ifs? It's not the what if, it's the Elseworld series, right?
Yeah.
I would go with the Elseworld series because they do a lot of great comics, and if you wanted to go even darker, you could go with the Vertigo series with that.
Yeah. Yeah, they do a lot of good stuff. They have a lot of good, one-off weird storylines.
Yeah, the Batman by Gaslight, if I remember correctly, was really good.
Yeah.
But I like that. But you're going to get a lot of pissed off fans.
Yes, a lot of them.
That's even better. I like that. Ripping Batman apart at the seams just because, but they're going to want to see that villain in other storylines too, just making manipulating, or you could just turn the villains on each other. What was it? There was just a DCU animation out where someone broke into the Batcave, downloaded all that, and it turned out Batman had a contingency plan to take care of all the Justice Leagues. And when they said, who's attacking all these Justice Leagues, and Batman says, I am. Here's the contingency plan, right? And at the end they said, what if you went rogue? Who was going to take you out? And he looks at Superman, if I believe right. He says, you were going to take me out if it ever came to that.
I think it's interesting because if I wanted to go, that would be my small story. If I wanted to do a big event scale, I would do a one-off in that universe where it's maybe a team of, 3 people. You get the mastermind who is deciding how everything is going to go down, and then the people helping him carry it out. And you would attack 3 superheroes all at the same time. So you take everything away from Batman, everything away from Superman, and maybe Wonder Woman. And then all 3 of them have to learn to come together, even though they've lost literally everything in their lives, and take them down.
And even better, if you want to go with that, because you're watching the Moon Knight series, you could actually have Batman himself being the middleman, tearing himself apart on both ends.
Yeah.
Because he can't mentally come up with the concept of losing somebody, but he has to rein his emotions in to keep fighting crime. So he would basically, that third mentality would tear him apart at the seams. and destroy him, and he could be that great man internally.
Well, there you go. There's our comic book pitches.
I like that.
Yeah, I think they're pretty actually good. They're actually pretty good, except for Ronz, which was better. Just kidding.
No.
Just kidding. It was good.
It was good. It
It
was
was
good.
good. It's a good concept. We just need to develop it. And once again, though, if anybody steals these ideas, we're coming after you because they're all
Yes,
trademarked.
trademark. Please do not steal my Batman story. I own nothing of the Batman property, but please, I came up with that on my own. Thank you.
And we definitely like to write it. So if there's any chance or any possibility that any people working for DC need someone to sit in a writer's room, it's a great concept.
Or make music for their next big animation.
Oh, I would not be able to do that. No, I don't if you're listening, no.
What about
And I'm throwing the line out to Marvel and DC. If you'd like to develop my character, that'd be great.
Yes, I think it would work on either side.
And I'll throw this out. I'd like to be a background character in any of your movies, right? Just a
You could do
simple
that on
walk
your
and holding
own,
a cup of
Ronz.
coffee.
You could do that on your own, man.
Oh,
You can be an extra.
You just go on Facebook.
yeah, but
That's how I got mine.
There you go.
well, cool.
You can do it. Yeah, just jaunt on down when the industry gets back to cranking it out. Like it's
Someday
someday it will happen.
Is
All
it-
right. Well, this has been a really good episode. I've been pretty happy with it.
Yeah, and we see it on topic.
I would love to
Woo!
say that I would also like to do this. I'd like to pitch a sitcom.
Oh,
Yeah, I like comedy.
What do you think about that, Ronz?
I love
Pitching a
that.
sitcom?
Yeah.
Can you come up with a independent idea for that?
Well, not having much concept on this one. Yeah, I think I can. Right?
I give you this is my heads up. My apologies. I came up with this idea yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, this will be fun."
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was. It's
Now we'll just have to think about a sitcom.
Yeah. So keep that in mind. That's what we're going to shoot for. We're just trying to make you happy out there in the world, people. When you're dealing with all this bullshit, where you're self-distancing yourself, practicing social isolation, staying in quarantine. Some people can't do that. Some people, by virtue of what they do, are unfortunately going to be out there exposed to the public. Unfortunately, I'm one of those people. But hey, that was my chosen profession, even though podcasting is what I would really like to do for a living.
And how can they reach us?
How can they reach us? Well, you can reach us by email.
Nation Tale.
You can reach us by email at slaptailsquad@gmail.com. And you can check out our website that has been diligently worked on by the Ronz.
Yeah, everybody's worked on it. Just me, but thank you.
Which is slaptailnation.com.
And Scott,
.com.
let's plug you in. What do you got coming up in the future?
Living in the
Nothing.
basement.
I'm going to work on this Batman stories now.
Cool. And
That's a
what
good
about your
idea.
music?
You should do that.
What was that,
What about
Ron?
your music?
I'm working on it.
Huh?
I mean, that's all. I'm just working on it. But now I'm kind of interested in this Batman
Are
story.
you on
you're
any
totally
Twitter
right.
feeds or anything like that, or any social media that anybody would like to get a hold of you?
If you feel like if you are interested in listening to my music, I have a page posted on the actual website. It'll be under Friends of the Show, but you can always search my name, Skylar Beavers, on any music platform that you listen to, YouTube,
I just happen to have
Spotify,
you posted up on
iTunes.
Spotify. You've got quite the track record.
Yes, I have. The last song I put out was from a couple months ago. It's a song I made with my friends called Crazy. It's probably like our best quality song ever, but it's really good.
Are you on Twitter?
My Twitter is just nonsense. It's absurdist dark humor. Please don't go look for me there.
Well, I did, and it's not what I thought it would be.
My Twitter is a wasteland. If you are a fan of war, you will be a fan of my Twitter because it's just complete bullshit.
I don't
So,
even understand Twitter.
Yeah, you don't need to. It's okay.
For all social media outlets, et cetera, I direct you to my number 2 in charge, which is the Ronz.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
I mean, he's getting there, by God. He's working hard.
I'm trying.
It'll get
Ever
there.
diligent, and he's doing a great job, in my opinion.
So,
Yeah, snaps for Ron.
yeah, thank you.
Ronz, way to go.
So if
All
you're
right, well,
a fan of Skylar Beavers, check him out. And the artwork that we have we got a link to that because someone asked us about the artwork, by the way. So
Yep.
I'll put that up on that. We're gonna launch Facebook here soon. So
Yep,
anything
it's
else?
only been out. Facebook's only been a platform for 12 years, but we'll get a page up there
Get it
soon.
up there.
No, definitely.
All right. Well, this is the Beaveman saying adios, mooch fuckos.
Take
Looking
care.
forward to hearing from you next time.
Hey.
Goodbye.